It takes a crane to build a crane. It takes 2 floors to make a story. It takes an egg to make a hen. It takes a hen to make an egg. There is no end to what I'm saying. It takes a thought to make a word. And it takes some words to make an action. And it takes some work to make it work. It takes some good to make it hurt. It takes some bad for satisfaction. Ah la 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 la, life is wonderful. Ah la 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 la, life goes full circle. Ah la 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 la, life is wonderful. Ah la 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 la.
Hey everyone, this is Tom. Welcome to my YouTube channel and to my first attempt at producing anything at all like this video. I'll be heading out one of these days in the next few months on a bike tour. I'll be starting at the US-Mexico border, where I've made it from Astoria, Oregon, eventually, started there. And I will be heading south, and I'll be making these updates for anybody who's interested in following along and listening to my ramblings and my reflections. And so this is kind of the first of those. I'm in Oaxaca, Mexico these days. And as you can see on the headline up there, 65 years and 259 days old. That's me today, September 9th. And that's usually not a very big deal. Yeah, it's hard to find a card like that at Hallmark. But it's a significant day for me because on the right there, that's my dad, James Miller. My dad passed away on the day that he was 65 years and 259 days old. That was 24 years ago. And for me, this has been a significant day. And looking back at everything that my dad meant to me and everything that he was and who he was, and it's just been a wonderful opportunity and very emotional for me to think about my dad, which you see him there on the left with my mom on their wedding day. And there they are, the bridal couple, a few years down the line. Still together. They were together all that time. There they are on their honeymoon. My dad was in the Navy at that time. And this was during the Korean War. And here, this is how I remember them when I was like in junior high school. You look at my dad, we thought he was a nerd, but he's pretty well sporting what would be pretty hot these days. Looks like he's ready to host the Tonight Show. And there he is on the beach on their honeymoon in Virginia Beach at not too shabby. Never thought about my dad as being really handsome. And, he looked so young there. They were 21. What can I say? But as I reflect on my life these days, I think a lot about my dad, and that's kind of new. So much of my life I didn't really give him much of a thought because he was such a meek and humble person. He didn't force himself on you. He didn't have a personality larger than life. He could be supportive, and he was there in a very quiet way. I love this picture of him holding my son, my father and my son in one photo there. He just really loved nurturing, and he was not a controlling type. And there he is with my son Owen again. Owen, I think that was the day that my daughter Rebecca was baptized. He loved his grandchildren. There's just no question about that. And he and my mom, in their retirement years, had some adventures. My dad was an adventurer type, really. And maybe I take after him. Here I am on my first ride. And I took this picture a few years ago where we lived in San Jose, that was where I learned how to ride my bike. My dad would run along beside the little bike that he bought for $5 and run along beside me. And just about where that girl was walking was where I had my first crash. He let go of the seat and I crashed. And this is my ride these days that I will be taking throughout the country of Mexico, starting with Baja. It cost me a little bit more than $5. But there's my dad, yeah. He never made himself the object of a conversation. He would always give 110% of himself, truly, in a very quiet way. And it's just kind of interesting. It took me into the second half of my life before I even noticed that about him, really. He was not the dad of my dreams during the first half of my life, I hate to say, but that was one of my character flaws. We are so different. He was always just there on the side. It was an interesting kind of teacher that he was. He would not say, okay, Tom, it's time to teach you how to fly a kite. No, I would do that on my own. And then I'd invariably get stuck, and I'd go to him, and he'd be very helpful. And same was learning how to watch football on TV. He did that. He didn't teach, but he was always there to give an answer. So thinking about my dad today, and it's been fun to share it with you here. And I invite your comments, and I invite you to subscribe and to like, and then you'll be made aware of next time I post a video, which should be after I'm on my bike and beginning that adventure. Thank you so much again for watching today and sharing this day with me. So long. Love you, Dad. Miss you a lot.
Life is wonderful. Ah, la 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 la. It takes a night to make it dawn, and it takes a day to make you yawn, brother. And it takes some old to make you young. It takes some cold to know the sun. It takes the one to have the other. And it takes no time to fall in love, but it takes you years to know what love is. And it takes some fears to make you trust. It takes those tears to make it rust. It takes the dust to have it polished, yeah. Ah, la 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 la, life is wonderful. Ah, la 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 la, life goes full circle. Ah, la 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 la, life is wonderful.